Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. As usual, we've been having conversations with filmmakers on the Accra Indie Film Festival train. We are anticipating for this particular festival, 2023 is going to be a blast, and I hope everyone who is watching right now is going to make their way to Alliance Francaise from the 31st of July to the 5th of August, 2023. Like always, we have a filmmaker here who is going to share their experience as a filmmaker and also speak to the project that they got selected into the festival for. So today I have here Nwamaka Chikezie, and she's going to be talking about her film, My Mama Na Ashawo. So welcome, Nwamaka.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we are happy to have you and congratulations on being one of the filmmakers selected to be a part of this year's festival.
Thank you. And I'm very excited. Looking
Yes,
forward to this festival.
awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'll go into Nwamaka's bio quickly before we proceed. So Nwamaka Chikezie is an independent filmmaker based in Abuja, Nigeria. Her most recent film as director is HERDSBOY, a documentary film about life as a Fulani herder and what it means to live as a Fulani person in today's Nigeria. As a writer, Chikezie's credits include 16 episodes of Bino and Fino, a Pan-African animated series, loves Deceit, the Nigerian adaptation of William Shakespeare's Othello, Charlie and the Boys, a Nigerian adaptation of Swedish classic Jönssonligan, and she has worked as an editor on independent documentaries such as Displaced and many more. So she's also engaged with building communities through video partnerships, empowering new and aspiring filmmakers and creatives, especially women and girls, to tell their own stories. As the co-founder of the AiF Film Collective and the creator of the Guerrilla Filmmaker Project, Chikezie is committed to bold voices and innovative forms that build radical practices of ethical filmmaking, focusing on Nigeria, independent filmmakers. And she's here with us today. So we're going to be having a discussion with her about My Mama Na Ashawo. But before that, we'd like to get a sense of you, Nwamaka, as an individual, as a filmmaker, an indie filmmaker in Nigeria. So tell us about your journey as a filmmaker, where it all began.
Thank you for the bio brief.
Yeah, sure.
So for as long as I can remember, I've always been a storyteller. Um, I've scribbled, written, I've made up stuff. But I studied mass communication, and that's my first degree. So I knew I was going into the creative industry. But it was not until my NYC, so there's this thing we do, the national service for every graduate in Nigeria.
Yes.
So during my NYC, I started taking writing classes, screenwriting classes. Because I realized after school that there were two different writing tools and scripts are two different kinds of types of storytelling.
Yeah.
So after my NYC, I got a job. I mean, through social media, I got a job to write the Lost Deceit, the William Shakespeare Othello. So and then I worked on set as a script supervisor. That was my first MBA. And from there, I knew I wanted to not just write, I also want to be part of the visual interpretation of my story. And, and then, I mean, since being part of I began to speak to advice. So I think the next gig I got was as a first AD. So I just didn't leave the director's department. So for
Mm.
everything around community testing or street supervisor or first AD, that's when I'm the director.
Mm. And that's the beauty of filmmaking. And filmmakers generally take on multiple roles and can wear any hat at any time. But then it just shows also that it starts from somewhere and then it builds up to you becoming the person who then is able to interpret or visually interpret your writing. When did you decide that, okay, this is the moment that I'm going to take this script and interpret it? So tell us about your first or your directorial debut.
Ah, my first film is never going to come out. I have it in the fantasy. But nobody's going to. Anybody that watch after watching it, I'll see you. So like you watch it, die. But it's that experience is something I'll never trade. I mean, someone says, would you rather not have had that experience? I would say no, because working on set usually when everybody think they know more than the director. So sometimes like this person could have done this way on set until you're sitting on that chair and everybody's not relying on you for all of those. So I think it was coming from an as a crew member, then the director, and everybody's asking me all of these questions. I'm like, oh, do I have to make all of these decisions? And yeah, it all boils down to the film is yours now. It's, and so I think I finished principal photography. And when I was watching the first one, that was when I knew that, holy shit. This is, because it's no matter how for us creative, most creative, we are the most critical of ourselves. So if you feel like so I just felt I mean some people saw it, but we all collectively agree that yeah, the film is there, it's going to be there as a reference. Just my first film. So it wasn't easy, but it just goes to show that there's so much than what meets the eye. There's a lot that goes into making a film, no matter how tiny the project. Because it was actually a short film, it was supposed to be like 4 minutes. But my main character was a 4-year-old girl, and I cast her because again it was low budget, no funded, so I cast her from his friend, my sister's friend too. And yeah, because she's not an actor. She knows me. She's like, when we say action, she's like, I'm like, go outside. And I'm like, no. So something that we could have done in 1 day or 2 days, we ended up sitting in 4 days, and yeah, we lost a lot of continuity and stuff. So yeah. And then the funny thing is, after that, I thought I was going to make films with children anymore, like films with children. But then here we are, Mama Na Ashawo again. So on the set of Mama Na Ashawo, there on my other set, like, oh, okay, yeah, started again, children, school, classroom. But sometimes you can't control what where your spirit is. I hardly refer to myself as a filmmaker, right? I just at the core, I'm a storyteller. So I want to tell a story. Then I allow the story to sort of like guide me to the best channel to tell it. So it's authentic to the story. So my goal always is to retain the authenticity of the story is the core. So once I know what my story is, whether it comes out as a film or comes out as a graphic novel or it's the story that will determine that. So that is how I feel. I am drawn to indigenous stories. That's perfect. I'm a storyteller who is drawn. I believe strongly that it takes more to tell their own story. So some stories you can't reenact. So no matter how you try as a creative person, you can't get into the like they call so you have to allow the people who are living the reality to tell the story. So you tell the story through them as opposed to reenacting. So that was what happened with HERDSBOY. Because so I live in Abuja, right? I'm sure you know Lagos. That's where the head of Nollywood, the Nigerian entertainment hub is. So every single time But Lagos is not for the feeble-minded. Lagos is a very Lagos 24 hours is not
Yes.
enough for
Let's
Lagos.
go.
Exactly. So um I remember every single time I work with actors, I'm on set, they come from Lagos to Abuja to make films, or I go to the like, no matter what I do in Abuja, come to Lagos, to live in Lagos. And I also feel like as creatives, we are normal. I don't have to live anywhere to be able to make film anywhere, to be able to tell any story. So, and sort of to demystify or decentralize the notion that everybody has to flock to a particular location to be able to make stories. I want to travel the world to tell. I want to make a film in Ghana, not living in Ghana, not just tell an authentic Ghanaian story, and come back to where I live and go somewhere else and make film. Me personally, my day job working on set, writing scripts. Yeah. So instead of doing something out of the industry,
What's this Ashawo they feel like
regular
saying?
job, so that I'm not doing. Yeah,
She
I'm
got
not
to tell you, man, you know the come that useless name in front of my pikin.
What's what make I call you?
And I'm learning.
Doctor? I think know the kind of work where they do.
One of the things I see, I mean, I'm not a very humble person. You're going to get that. One of the things that I tell directors I work with, like I'm always jealous of the directors I work with because when I'm on their set, they don't have an AD, they have a director who's assisting them, right? So it's like you don't have this like AD. No, you're not an assistant director. This is a director who's actually assisting you, and sometimes I don't get that. I don't have me. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't have me when I'm there. So that's why I can say it allows me to tell the stories and allows me to just having stuff to do by the side. That is not away from the industry. Because a lot of people I know that have working in the civil service, they're like brilliant storytellers. But when you're not here, you're not here. You're not learning. Yeah, when you come back, you have to catch up, and then you do something, and then you go out again. So yeah,
Cover. You. If you no say, you no go do. Pay me the remaining 200,000 where your papa they owe me.
Your mother.
Very interesting. We have to see that film. I hope we come out alive. But it's interesting because I was speaking to Kofi on one of the days of the interview. He's also a filmmaker who has his film in the festival from Ghana, and he was saying the same thing about how he has imposter syndrome and he's the most critical of his work. So most of the time, or sometimes he does stuff and he's now wondering how people accept it, how people take it. And then also he spoke about how he had no choice but to tell these stories. So he was always often pushed to do it. So it's very interesting the similarities that we are getting along the way, filmmaking or filmmakers from across the board. Interesting, weaving through and balancing. And I mean, you mentioned that a lot of people have said come to Lagos. And have you been to Lagos? And what would you say in comparison to Abuja? Because you said your day job requires you to write, right? I believe so, right? So you're writing and then you're actually on film sets. So that means there is shooting going on in Abuja. So what would you say is the difference between the Lagos scene and the Abuja scene in terms of film?
So it's sort of like how like anybody making film that is not in Hollywood, like anybody that is not in LA. So let's say you're in New York, you're not everybody's saying move to LA, you have to pack up, you have to go to LA, that's where everything is happening.
Come to LA.
That's the thing. Yeah, you go to Hollywood. If you're not in Hollywood, you're not that's the thing that with Lagos, like after you being here, that's where you meet the producers, that's where you meet that's where Netflix is, that's where the distribution is and everything. But so far so good with the globalization of the media and everything. Anybody that tells you or anybody that reads you, I mean that's one of the things I tell people that it really does not matter. Now I can get jobs from people in Lagos. The whole thing is I do not have to be here every day. I don't want to be. I don't want to live in Lagos. I've tried this. I tried it for like a month around it didn't work out, and it was a struggle. Just everyday living. It's not even working as a case. It's not. I didn't grow up there. It wasn't how I was. So it's um, and I struggled with it for a while because it felt like I wasn't pursuing doing the most I could with my filmmaking career. So that's why I didn't go. Then Abuja is so this is the thing. Abuja is like the calm place. So most Lagos they come here, and the Abuja is like is in the north of Nigeria. It's more conservative and more quiet.
Right.
So and cheaper, meaning people Abuja is expensive, but it's cheaper in the sense that you could easily carry your camera, go to the street, like certain street, and just film an experience thing and go back. You cannot do that in Lagos.
You have to settle the point. You have to settle the point.
I remember once, like Abuja, and then it is now very okay now because now you have to learn film censorship, but like, and they ask you if you have the road safety person with you, and federal road safety, or the civil defense person. So if you have these two people, nobody disturbs you, right? But in Lagos, you have to have everybody. You still have the army, and still have somebody. Still, you still get interference from the street. Because like the real owners of Lagos are going to come out and tell you that we get Lagos and everything. But that's the difference. Just it's slow here, very slow sometimes because most of the jobs that actually come here are coming from outside there. So some producers that want to come and make their films here, some people that set their stories in Abuja are coming here to make films. There are Abuja producers as well, but it's not very up there because at some point, yeah, it's like there are like cadres with it like very high budget films are very they are minute here in Abuja. I'm not talking about TV, African Magic films. No, I'm talking about like Netflix original, Showmax and Amazon and all these. They're mostly in Lagos.
Right. That's true. And now let's get into my Mama Na Ashawo.
My customer not be 2-minute man.
So for those who are watching and don't understand,
my mother walk.
That is the title of the film that Nwamaka has in this year's festival. Don't forget that the festival is happening from the 31st of July to the 5th of August at Alliance Française in Accra. So come by with your family and friends and come and watch many films, including My Mama Na Ashawo. So let's get into a bit
from
of
the
that. Tell
ash,
me, what was
the brothel.
My Mama Na Ashawo?
I like to talk about just those stories that people, as Africans, there are things you don't talk about. Even though it's a reality, like no, don't say that. You're not allowed to say that. And so I was the producer who also wrote the film. She has according to her, she has had the story. Brenda Garuba, she has had the story for a long time, and she has been looking for who would tell it. And then she came to me. I remember she said, "You have to invest me." And from the title alone, I knew we struggled with title initially, but that it was the title that drew me to the film. Like this story about this boy whose mother is like my mom. That was the film. One of the that was it. Again, I think I've mentioned. There's this underserved people in demography in the Nigerian filmmaking space. They call them twins, the preteens and the young adults. So we do not make films, even I think in Africa generally. And it's really bad for me to grapple with that part because I grew up watching the channel, right? And I know things about Miley Cyrus that Miley Cyrus probably don't even know about herself. Can't even remember about herself. right? This is from watching Hannah Montana. I know about the Jonas Brothers, I know things about them. I know their best boyfriend. I'm sure if Miley Cyrus comes and I'm telling her stuff about her, she's going to be like, "Oh, that's June." I don't even remember. But I really have it. I was watching Disney Channel. I watch all teen movies in Disney Channel, and I'm grown up to man. And my nephew is 7, and they're seriously recycling most of those. Because one day I'm at my sister's and no, it wasn't Hannah Montana. Wizards of Waverly Place, the one with Selena Gomez. And I was singing to the theme song. He turned and he's looking at me like, how do you sing? Like, you're old, you're supposed to be an auntie. Why are you like this? And then I had to show him like, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, Sam and Cat, Malice, Sam and Cat, that's
Victorious.
What's her name? Ariana Grande. I'm showing him all the people and I'm showing him the real what Ariana Grande looks like now. And something she doesn't talk like this anymore.
No.
Showed Miley Cyrus and everything. And this is where the one that because he liked the song Wrecking Ball, right? I remember I used to see like radio edit of Wrecking Ball. And I told him that that's Hannah Montana singing record. He cannot marry the two. So it kind of like makes me think, who are these kids going to grow up with? Because for us, it's not easier because we grew up with them. They were almost, at least, I mean, for me, like most of them were like a year or two older than I was at the time. So we're all growing up at the same time. But now, my nephew is watching something he was definitely when they were teenagers. Did you get it? So that was one of the things that drew me. I think that's the first, thinking about it now, that's the first thing that drew me. It is a young person involved. So it's like how to tell this very hard hitting story for PG. So MAMA Na ASHAWO is PG, like totally PG. And I tried to use this. My father cannot pronounce the title of my film because what is the title of my film is like that film you made. He's not going to say. Because you cannot say, because some people say, "Oh, Amaka's film is called Your Mama Na ASHAWO." Don't say mine. Mama. No, my father can't do that. Because when he says your mama, he's talking about my mom. When he says my mama, he's talking about his mom. Like, what am I going to do? So, but that is the thing that I love about the story. It's how it's literal. Like there's that's the film. My mother. It's as simple, but it's really it's like surface but deep. And I feel like that's how we need to explain things to children. It's like this is a hard topic, but how can you make a child get it? So it is deep. And yeah, that was one of the things like how do I make this very on that is a very weird like nobody says ASHAWO in Nigeria. That's an insult. Right? Yes. And then how to own an insult. Because I remember one of the things that I hate and I love about Nigeria is that we own our shithole. We are so proud of our shithole. It's annoying sometimes. It's like we have all these problems, and then when another person start highlighting the problem, we have to fight the person. But these are the problems we have. So it's how you can just make again our story our own. So in our language. There was also one of the things where we retained the film. It was in English. In normal, we both people sing. Because Nigerian, I'm a gospel. Well, there's a picture of Nigerian English as a language. So I hated the fact that I still hate that in most Nigerian movies, when people speak pidgin, they are uneducated. But that's not what happens in real life. I speak pidgin with my friends, and I'm not uneducated because it's a language of communication, and it's our language of we get ourselves. So how come American English is insane, American slang is insane, for our own is what is when people call it broken English? Who broke it? And stuff like that. Because when we speak pidgin here, we don't think about it. We just flow and just talk and understand ourselves and move on. So, and the way we move into it, you speak pidgin, you move. you speak correct English. Even when we speak our native languages, we add English. Like me, my siblings can speak Pidgin English, our Igbo, so Igbo language in one sentence. And it's good, everybody knows, nobody thinks about it. So that's one of the things again that I told like we're going to keep it, I'm going to write it. And I'm not very fluent in Pidgin, but the writers could speak Pidgin and the boy to casting because there's Pidgin and there's the real one, the one that people who live or who speak come from the area where they speak Pidgin very well. Speak. But yeah, so that's the inspiration. The inspiration was to tell a hard-hitting story, but at the core, we make it PG enough.
That's amazing. And yeah, I mean you've said it all. We have no issues speaking the pidgin or it's their version of pidgin, the slangs, the American slangs and all the new words that we are always hearing on a daily basis. But yet we have this notion that someone who speaks broken English or the pidgin that we are mostly familiar with is uneducated. So that's another thing to highlight. And you are totally right about not having content that suits to the preteens. And then you're wondering, I really liked your submission about Hannah Montana and Victorious and all, because I also grew up watching these things and now I follow their lives. Like Victorious, I'm always wondering what's up with Victoria Justice, what's she doing, because you are following their life and wondering how their life goes, and then it's always good for us to also tell these kind of stories. So that's a good one. And your final words to anyone watching right now who is watching this and is wondering, why should I come and watch this film and what benefits would it be to me? I mean, talk to them, tell them, why should they watch My Mama Na Ashawo?
I mean, if you're a fan of authentic stories, if you're tired of the norm, if you want to just come and watch African stories told by Africans through our own lens. There's no infiltration. This is just pure from us to us, from me to you. So come and watch this film and feel. So it's not, like when Africans are dissing other Africans, it's different from where you're dissing the Igbo. So it's like come and just experience the film. It was told from a place of love, and you could feel it when you watch the film that the people involved in this project actually love their project, from the production to even the production assistant. Everything was really good, from the pausings, the music, the grading, the casting. It was really so that you can feel your spin and your heartbeat. Just the kind of stories that are not everyday kind of stories. So that's what you should expect from what MAMA Na ASHAWO. And I'm sure the other lineup.
Yes, and even the title alone should draw you in to come and watch My Mama Na Ashawo by Nwamaka Chikezie. And this has been a very enlightening conversation, very brief, but then we've gotten a sense of who she is and what the film is about. So if you're watching this right now, come by for the festival and stay tuned to our social media platforms so you get to see exactly when the film is showing. So we'll get the venues and the showing times out there for you. So stick and stay and make sure you're following our social media platforms. This has been the Accra Indie Film Festival conversation with the filmmakers. Thank you so much, Nwamaka, for joining us today. Thank you. Yes, really appreciate. Yeah, sure. We always happy to have you, and congratulations again for being selected as part of the Accra Indie Film Festival 2023.
Thank you, and I'm excited. I can't wait. And it's really my first time in Ghana, so I can't wait to experience.
We can't wait to have you as well. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We have other conversations coming up with other filmmakers, so stick and stay and make sure that you are at the festival come the time that we have set for it. So I'll see you in our next conversation. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.